This year, for the first year that I can remember, I have had squash to pick that was the first female blooms on the plants. All right, guys, I should be ashamed to tell this on myself, but I'm going to tell it anyways. I've been out in the garden for several, and I do mean several hours, probably about 3 hours. Not doing a lot of strenuous stuff, but enough that I'm just absolutely wet with sweat all over. I decided I'd do a little vlog because every year I have problems with my zucchini and squash. My problem is that the first week or two I never get a harvest, because unless I come out here with a paintbrush or a Q-tip and play the honeybee, taking the pollen from the male flower and putting it on the female, I don't get anything. Well, guess what? This year I did it different. Take a look at those. That is tame purslane. And let's see here if I can zoom in on that bee. Yeah, I believe you might be able to see the little bee working it. Not only him, but there's lots of little bees that are native bees that look almost like little, we call them sweat bees, but they're a small bee, but they work these flowers heavy. So what they do is they come right over here to the squash and they work them, and they get the pollen off of the flowers. So this year, for the first year that I can remember, I have had squash to pick that was the first female blooms on the plants. I've had both the zucchini and the yellow squash. I've had very few of them bloom and then just rot on the vine because they weren't pollinated. So if you've got some old flower boxes, and these are old window boxes that have never been put up on a window, but I can tell you this, Terry and I owned these boxes before we moved out to Tansy where we live now. So I know they're at least 30 years old. And I've got another one down there. But I just put those things, when these plants were smaller, I put them right up next to the plants themselves. As the plants have gotten larger, I've moved them up against the fence that divides the two gardens here. And yes, those variegated ones, I did buy those new, but the others, the solid colors, those have reseeded themselves for year after year after year. Once you put them in a pot, you're done. You don't have to go back and redo them.